Welcome to Scene Invaders. I'm Bagface. That is Dan. And today we are covering episode 4 of House of the Dragon, the top 5 what the moments in the episode. I'm so excited. This episode was insane. What did you think?
I was prepped for it. A good friend of mine told me that this episode was going to be insane because he's a book reader and he might be on next week with us. Something that you predicted came true that we'll talk about. But yeah, great episode. Really good. And I'm wondering if any other episode this season is going to live up to it because there was a lot of crazy moments this one.
Yeah, I love that we're back to, because the old version, Game of Thrones, old school edition, was the 4th episode of every season, was the balls to the wall episode.
Yeah,
I'm kind of thinking we're back to that. And I like having that sense that it's coming because you get the first 3 episodes to set up and you get that huge moment in the 4th episode, usually every season. And then the rest of the season is dealing with that, the consequences of the 4th episode. It's a good structure to this show.
And there's only 8 episodes this season as opposed to 10 last season, so it's shorter. But it's going to be more action-packed each week, so that's a good thing.
Exactly. All right, so our number 5 what the fuck moment this week, after the battle with the Brackens and the Blackwoods, with all the dragons fighting, you got Rhaenys, you got Aemond, just is complete madness. We have Cole, a very nice moment with Cole, where he walks up to the back of a knight that he thinks is just kneeling on the ground, holding a banner. He's like, hey, man, we got to go get the king, and touches the shoulder of the armor, and you just see the front of it and just dust. It's just a person that has been completely Thanos snapped out of existence.
Cool shot.
Amazing shot. Yeah. Great direction on that. And I think it was a good moment to have Cole and the audience kind of realize what a war with dragons actually is. Because it's not a war between men. It's not people being injured and stabbed. It is people being eviscerated, just deleted out of existence.
Yeah, 100%. That was like you could see it in his face that it really hit him in that moment.
Yeah, and he was a little bit, I think he's realizing what he has started in that moment and somewhat regretting it. So our number 4 what the moment in this episode, Alicent sitting with Aegon and just kind of shitting on him. I thought that was one of my favorite moments of this season so far, where she's like, why don't you do what you do best? Nothing. Which is like,
just sit back
for your mom.
Yeah. Because he's pissed about the Hand and Aemond making plans together and he wasn't involved. And you could tell it was like building up, and he starts to sip on that wine some more and more. He knocks that bottle over. And that's why he ended up getting on his dragon and flying out there. But like he should have listened to his mom.
When he threatens her, she's, kind of talking a little too much shit. And he's like, watch your mouth. And she's like, or what?
Or what? Like, what are you going to do? Little bitch. Yeah.
Just backhanded. Which, I know, it feels like I've wanted that to happen to Aegon for I don't know, both seasons, I guess, most of the show that's been going on. But I also kind of feel bad for where he ends up in this episode. There's just a little hint of like, this guy has been put in a position that he clearly did not want to be in. When he was growing up, he never thought he was going to be put in this position because he was always expecting Rhaenyra to take the throne. So he was like, I can just fuck around for my whole life, not learn actual Valyrian or anything like that. Because when he's talking to Aemond on the council earlier, he can't even really speak complete Valyrian to him.
That was so funny. It was like broken English. He could barely talk.
Yeah. It was so good. And you can tell he can understand enough that he knows that he's bad at Valyrian.
Right.
You kind of, like, I guess I kind of feel empathy towards him in the way that he's been put in this position that he never thought he would be in, that no one else ever thought he would really be in. No one was prepared for him to be in it, and he wasn't himself prepared.
Yeah, well, his arc to be the king anyway, remember when his dad died, he was like running. He was running away. Like he didn't want it. He's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And now that he's in the position and people are making plans without him, he kind of feels like a certain type of way about it. Like, well, what the hell? I'm king. You got to include me. And then when his mom tells him to sit back, you see what he does. So yeah, he's like kind of unhinged in a way.
Do you think she secretly knew that if she said that to him, that he would go out and fuck himself up? Or do you think she really meant to be like, sit back and do nothing, let the adults handle this? Or do you think she was like,
I think she meant she didn't want him to get involved at this stage anyway. She didn't want, because he's mentioned going on his dragon before in the last episode. And everybody's like, no, we can't risk you dying. You got to chill. And he's always been like, well, what the hell? I got to do something. People need to respect me. But yeah, he's got that complex to him,
Yeah. It's really nice to finally get to a point in Game of Thrones where it only took 9 seasons and we're getting actual dragon battles, but they didn't sacrifice the good character development and moments for dragon battles. I'm liking that we're getting both, finally. Our number 3, what the moment in this episode is another one that just kind of runs throughout the entire episode, is Damon's visions in Harrenhal. The biggest moment for me, I guess, was him beheading the young version of Rhaenyra when he's just kind of fed up with her and her head is just on the floor still talking. Pretty cool moment.
Yeah, it's really cool to see Millie Alcock back in the role, even
Oh yeah,
it's such a short time that we get with her. But it's nice because she was so good in the first season. You know, she's a good actress. Good. So it's kind of nice to see her get some scenes, even though it's all in his head. And you know, Damon's kind of going through a bit of a crisis right now. And the Witch of Harrenhal said that you're gonna die here. I think that started to get in his head. And then she kind of messed with him even more this episode, like saying, "Oh, you're running away from your wife." Like she's kind of like messing, getting in his head. And you never really saw a character get under his skin before. He's kind of always been in a dominant position, and now this person's kind of getting to him. So I like her. She's a good character.
I like her a lot. And I like how she just has no reserve at all. Like, most people are somewhat afraid of Damon. You can tell he's like, I could cut your head off. And she's like, I do not care. Like, how are your dreams going, dude? How's your sleep? And he's like...
She, like, called herself, like, an owl trapped in a body.
So which I don't know if that was, like, a hint at that she can warg. Because there's no wargs in this...
true.
In this version of the show. And I'm assuming that they're kicking around Westeros still. But... I don't know if that was a direct or if it's just supposed to be, I don't know, her being a weird hippie or something.
Yeah, good character, though. I'm excited to see more of her scenes.
The second half of this what the fuck moment, I guess, was he kind of wakes up to swords being drawn and he hears steps in the hallway. So he goes out and he's following what looks to be a Targaryen through the halls and he's going to sneak up on them. He's got a sword drawn. Eventually sees the person and it's Daemon's face with Aemond's eye patch. It's kind of like a mix of them both. I don't know what that's supposed to be hinting at. Maybe like them fighting down the road, or maybe them like coming to terms and maybe agreeing on something down the road. What did you think?
I took it as I've always seen a similarity between those two characters. They remind me of each other. So like maybe he sees a bit of himself in Aemond, type of that vibe. But I don't know. I've personally always thought they were kind of similar in the way they go about life.
That's true. Yeah, maybe it's him coming to terms with the fact that all the parts that he doesn't like about Aemond are parts of him that he doesn't like. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he's just seeing the reflection that he doesn't like in him. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
that's a way better analysis than mine. All right, so our number 2, what the moment? We're almost at our number 1. You all know what it's gonna be, but I'm still excited to talk about it. So our number 2 is Aemond blowing Aegon out of the sky relentlessly. He's entwined with Rhaenys and they're going at it, and Aemond just rolls up, just Dracarys, and just tries to blast them both out of the sky and pretty much only nukes his own brother. Yes. He barely even affects Rhaenys.
Okay, now I know this is a change from the book. The guy who's going to be on next week, he told me that in the book, Rhaenys is the one that did Dracarys to Aemond and injured Aemond, and they feel like it kind of took away from her death, which we're going to talk about in a minute, because she wasn't the one to wound him. And but I kind of like that they did it this way in the show, to show Aemond is kind of like fuck you to his own brother. And you saw when he was on the ground, he drew his sword before Criston was able to get there. So it's kind of like he wants him dead. That's in my opinion. He wants him dead.
So one of the coolest things that George R.R. Martin has talked about is the fact that all of the stuff in the books that is written about this is Maester's accounts of what happened on the battlefield. So all of the accounts that are like in the book are technically what, like, the actions are what happened, but the people that are blamed for them, we're seeing what actually happened in the show, but then that's just kind of recorded history in the way it's telephoned down the line and changed slightly, and it's adjusted to make people look better. If you see the episode trailer for next week, one of the only lines of dialogue that you hear a few, but one of the biggest ones that stood out to me was there are people that are chanting and claiming that Aegon was the one who took down Rhaenys.
Yes,
not
he gets credit for it. Yep.
Yeah, he gets credit for it.
It's going to piss Aemond off.
Oh,
it's going to piss him off. He doesn't like his brother. He doesn't like him. You can tell.
It's a cool way to show that thing that I was just saying for George, which is how they're always in the moment, even like immediately rewriting history. And they're is what would be written down in the history books for future generations to read. So it's such a cool way to play on how events really happen in history, and how even in the real world, we're just reading the recollections of events throughout history, and they are probably not exactly what they were, and they're just slightly changed. The outcomes are always obviously the same. They're all recorded correctly, but what leads to those outcomes is so biased in the party that is in power, I guess, which would be the Greens, I guess, right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I have one quote from the book. I'm going to do one more quote at the end of this video. So, quote from the book: when Rhaenys died, the queen who never was lived fearlessly and died amidst blood and fire. So, rest in peace, Rhaenys. She was a great character. And
also, her birthday today. Her character's birthday is today.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah.
So real quick, I just want to say rest in peace to Sunfire and Meleys. Even in Game of Thrones, when a dragon died, it hit me hard. I hate seeing that happen, but more dragons are going to die. It's just sad. I'm an animal lover. I hate even though they're fake animals. I just it's like when a dog dies in a movie. It hits you.
Oh. And the look back that Meleys gives to Rhaenys as she's, I think it's a female dragon, but like as she's dying, it just kind of hits the heartstrings real hard.
It really did. And then the way Rhaenys just kind of accepted it. She put her hands out. She was like, all right, that's it. I fought.
Even in the moment where she's about to escape and you're like, please just bounce because you know what's coming.
I'm saying
and then she turns around. You know that she knows that she can't do it, but she's going to try anyways. It's damn sad, man. She was a really good character. Sad to see her go. So now we are to our number one what the moment in this episode, which is Rhaenys' death. We've been talking about it. We couldn't even help but get to it before we got here, but one of the best character deaths I think I've seen in Game of Thrones. So badass.
Yeah, she went out tough, just like I said in that quote, man. She went out fearlessly, but I wish she would have gotten away and lived to fight another day, but they were talking about who was going to go, which dragon was going to go, and she's like, it's got to be me. Rhaenyra, it's got to be me. And she fought proudly, and it just sucks, man.
Her 2v1, she's so experienced and such a badass that she literally 2v1'd the king and the largest dragon in the realm and almost had them both.
Yeah.
Which is fucking wild.
Aemond's dragon's huge, man. That's going to be a problem to deal with that guy.
So she has the second biggest dragon in the realm right now next to Vhagar that actually has a rider. So that's a big loss for Rhaenyra's side because, what was it, 2 episodes ago when Damon's trying to convince Rhaenys to go to King's Landing so they can both just double team Vhagar and take them out, which I'm sure would have been the outcome now that we see her almost be able to take out 2 dragons at the same time.
Yeah.
Her and Damon probably would have had no issues taking out Vhagar, but she says no.
Yeah.
And I guess this is where that leads is, you should have taken the opportunity when you had the chance.
Also, she had the opportunity to stop this war before it began. She could have killed Alicent. She could have killed Aemond. She could have killed Aegon. She could have killed them all, but she didn't because she was like, it's not my war to start, but that's what happens.
Could have been your war to end, not your war to start. It could have just ended it right there.
She could have.
So too damn bad. Rip.
And I know we talked about Aegon falling from the sky. A lot of people on Twitter were confused if he actually died or not. Now, if you're going by the books, this is the quote from the book. Aegon did not die, but his burns brought him such pain that some say he prayed for death. Now, also from my friend who read the books, says the armor that he had on, Aegon the Conqueror's armor, is kind of singed to his body now. And it's kind of stuck there. So that's going to suck. That's not going to be...
Man.
Yeah, it's not good.
I think Helena in season 1, I can't remember what episode it was, but I'm pretty sure she also called this, went back and tried to find it. But the only thing I could remember was she says something like the last ring has no legs, which I think is referring to this moment right now, which is Aegon never being able to walk again. I'm assuming that's going to be the outcome of this.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm going to listen to everything she says a lot closer.
She cracks me up, though. She's kind of like a space cadet. She's just out there.
She's just out there.
Yeah,
that's what happens when you drop too many drugs, kids. You end up like that.
That too.
Seeing the future and no one understanding what you're saying.
Yeah, she's funny, man. I like her.
All right, well, that was our top 5 what the fuck moments in episode 4 of House of the Dragon. If you guys had any moments that we didn't mention that you thought were crazy, leave them in the comments below. Don't forget, we are doing that contest right now. Once we get to 5,000 subscribers, we're going to pick a subscriber at random, give them $75 on Venmo and 50% off one of the items in the merch store. We got a lot of cool items in there. If you haven't checked them out, feel free to check them out. Maybe you'll get 50% off one of them and you'll have a bunch of money from us to spend on stuff there anyways. So it's a win-win situation.
Giveaways all the time. This is not going to be the
All the
last one.
time.
It's not the first one. We've done them in the past. Every time we hit a milestone, it's going to get higher and higher and higher. The more money we make, the more money we're going to give back to you guys because we do this for you guys. So thanks so much. And also, if you want to become a member, as little as $1 can get you into the Discord. You'll see our show notes. You can talk to us. You can play Wordle with us. All that fun stuff. So check it out.
Lots of people are playing Wordle in there.
Yeah.
I got to get into that.
Yeah,
I'm a little afraid because everyone's so good. I haven't been getting into it, but I should.
Get that streak going. Yeah, it's fun. Join up.
Make sure you stop by later this week. We're covering Presumed Innocent, and then later in the week, we are covering The Boys, which has been complete madness. So if you enjoy either of those shows, feel free to stop on by, and we'll see you in the next one. Later.